Good afternoon, everyone. I once again welcome each and everyone to our November Surrey Police Board meeting. Saying that, I honor and respect that the work that SPS does, Surrey Police Board does, and Surrey Police Service does, is on the unceded and traditional territory of the Coast Salish people, specifically the Semiahmoo Kainai Kwantlen here within the boundaries of the city of Surrey. And I thank each and every one of you for being here today. Before we begin, I just ask if there are any declaration of conflicts from any of our directors. I see none, then we'll continue on. Moving to the adoption of our agenda for November 13.
So I have a amendment to the agenda. I move that the agenda be amended to remove E1 from the presentation and delegations and item 2 under the Finance and Risk Committee reports in section F, that these items be moved to the closed meeting for the board to discuss when to schedule a special meeting before November 30th to consider them.
We have a seconder. All in favor? Opposed? Thank you very much. We'll be removing E under E1 and under the Finance Committee's part section 2. Adoption of our agenda, our amended agenda. Second, all in favor? Opposed? Thank you. Adoption of our minutes from October 9th, 2025. Seconded, moved. All in favor? Thank you. No consent items on our agenda today. With that, we'll be moving into presentations and delegations. And with that, I will turn it over to Director Chief Lipinski.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. We'd like to present to you a short presentation on taking over the east side of South Surrey, known as District 5. I'll ask Deputy Chief Lesage, who's in charge of Community Policing Bureau, to give opening remarks and then hand it over to Superintendent Lav Mangat, who will get into some of the details. Mike.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. I'll introduce Superintendent Lav Mangat and Inspector Darren Shepherd. We're looking at the taking over the east side of District 5 in South Surrey. Darren's been working very hard to get the office running. There was a lot of work to be done. So, like I said, we're going to talk about that transition and also the community programs in that area as well. Lav, with you.
Great, thank you, Deputy. I'm not sure if the slides are up there, just on the first slide. Perfect. Thanks, everyone. I'll just provide a quick overview of sort of our transition into the east side of South Surrey, also referenced or referred to as District 5. But I'm not sure if everyone's met Inspector Darren Shepherd. Darren Shepherd is our District 5 inspector for South Surrey. He ushered in the first transition to the west side of South Surrey, and he'll oversee the transition into the east side of South Surrey as well, too. So on November 25 at 6 a.m., SPS will start providing policing services to all of South Surrey. If we look at the map there on the left, you'll note that the maps are divided by 2 colors. SPS coverage is represented in blue and RCMP coverage is represented in red. The map on your left represents the current state. You'll note that SPS is currently policing District 1, which is Whalley, District 3, which is Newton, and then the west side of District 5, which is South Surrey. And west, when we talk about west side, we're saying the west side of 152 Street and Highway 99. If we look at the map on the right, that represents November 25. You'll note that the SPS coverage in District 5 now includes all of South Surrey, so west and east of 152nd and Highway 99. So that includes Crescent Beach to the west, 48 Avenue to the north, 196th Street to the east, and 0 Avenue to the south. So as of November 25, SPS will be policing Whalley, Newton, and all of South Surrey. And the RCMP will continue to support Cloverdale and Guildford. Go to the next slide, please. I'll just touch on a few key areas. So our communication center is prepared for the transition. A designated channel has been allocated for District 5 in addition to the other districts. The process that we use to transition into D5 West will follow through to D5 East. The SPS Prime Applications Unit and Prime Corp are all set for the D5 East takeover. On November 25 at 6 a.m., calls for service in South Surrey will be dispatched to District 5 SPS officers. The processes and workflows related to the dispatching, receiving, and management of calls will not change from what the officers are already used to. We don't anticipate any issues. The RCMP have transitioned more vehicles over to the SPS as they continue their demobilization. We have gone through the process of branding and outfitting a number of these vehicles, so we're to support frontline operations in District 5 East. Also, additional vehicles were also allocated to our investigative services and community programs to support our D5 expansion. All other equipment is in place. The District 5 Community Policing Office, where Inspector Shepherd resides, is operational and will support this District 5 expansion. Stakeholder engagement, Inspector Shepherd and his team have been very active, both with the support of the RCMP and their own initiative, engaging community partners and stakeholders in South Surrey, updating them on the transition. Maybe I'll just turn it over quickly to Darren just to talk about some of the engagement that he has done.
Sure. Thank you, sir. We've done a variety of engagements, both with locals, community support groups, faith-based groups, youth, as we continue our expansion into District 5. By all accounts, it's gone incredibly well. Traditionally, the District 5 has had the largest population of volunteer community within Surrey. And we've, with the rebranding of the SPS volunteers, we've quickly increased our numbers down there in that regard as well. So these are going very well. There will be some additional implementations in 2026, including the reopening of the front counter at the attachment to open it up to the public. But that will be following the expansion in D5 East. Things are coming along quite nicely.
Thanks, Darren. So in addition to the consultations and stakeholder engagement, our communications team is also preparing various communication to update the public on the timelines and the transition. Both our investigative service team and our community program teams will also expand their services into supporting District 5 East. This includes major crime investigative support, collision investigation, crisis intervention, and youth services, just to name a few of them. In the first week, Inspector Darren Shepherd will meet with the team coming on day one and brief them all, and we'll be present throughout the week meeting, regular meeting with our team leads, just to make sure everything goes smoothly. We're following the same process that we did D5 West, and it went quite well. That's it for myself. Are you Deputy or Chief?
Any questions or comments? If I can summarize, we've got a very good template that we have been working with the RCMP. And so after Wally, Newton, and now the west side of South Surrey, east side, it's a good rhythm, and we're in sync and everything is lining up. I'll open it up to questions or comments.
Dr. Chima?
Thank you for the presentation, Superintendent. Quick question. So can you tell me how many frontline officers are there in District 5 prior to the expansion, and how many would be after the expansion, recognizing that there's probably a trajectory of growth over time?
Yeah, there will be a trajectory of growth. I don't have the exact numbers. Perhaps Darren has the numbers now, but really what we aligned it with is that it's in line with the demobilization of the RCMP. As they mobilize a certain numbers, we will mobilize. We also did an analysis of also call volumes and anticipated requests for service when we were looking at our investigative services and our community programs like youth calls and things like that as well too.
Currently, there are 4 constables and 1 sergeant per team with 6 teams. Following the expansion and leading into the expansion, we will be upping those numbers to 7 constables on each of the 6 teams and 1 sergeant for each of the teams.
Thank you.
Any more comments or questions, Director Parman?
Sorry, observation. You said that D5 has the highest volunteer group in all the districts.
Additionally, yes.
Is there a reason why? Like, are we not able to get more in like D1?
I wouldn't say that there aren't enough in D1. I would just say that traditionally the residents of South Surrey are very active within their community. Many of them are long-term residents with established roots in the community. And if I was to theorize, it would be based on their time that they've spent in the community. And but within all districts, we've had very good response to our call for volunteers. So just in a very nice luxury of having a very active community down there to work with us.
And I can add that in the new year, we will be doing another call out for volunteers. We had a good response this last time. And in the new year here, we'll be doing another call out for volunteers, hopefully doubling the size of our volunteer cadre.
Thank you. There's no more comments or questions from directors. Thank you very much for the presentation, and we look forward to making that transition soon enough, very soon. Moving along with our agenda, there are no delegations requested here today. We're moving into reports. Chief Constable report, first one on hiring and diversity update.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The memo in front of you there is self-explanatory, but I will make some remarks. Number one, our recruiting is still very strong. We, of course, have two streams for recruiting. Brand new recruits that go to the Justice Institute of BC. And there's many, many young people here in Surrey that want to join the SPS. So we're fortunate that way. The second stream is with experienced officers. We still need a number of experienced officers in order to have that skill set, especially in the investigative bureau, to move us forward. And at the present time, it's holding steady, which is to say that we still have applications coming in, and that is favorable. One of the things that I'll point out from that diversity and hiring report is that last Friday, we had a recruit graduation, 11 recruits, and there was 61 recruits in the class, and two of our recruits won awards. The first award was to Constable Kingra, valedictorian. That is chosen by the class, and he spoke very well. The second award is what's called the Chief's Award, which is given out by the instructors, and Constable Kontma won that award. And so for me as a chief, it was a very proud day that the recruits worked so hard and they all did well, and two of them won awards. I will answer any questions or take any comments from.
Dr. Stuck?
Thank you, Chief. Congratulations on the recruiting. That's a very positive note. I've just got a question with respect to the experienced officers, and given the number of them, are there contingency plans with respect to attrition?
Yes. So it's always difficult with attrition. You don't know. You sometimes hear people do come forward, advise us of their plans. And attrition, quite frankly, on experienced officers within the SPS is quite low. And we anticipate that will continue for 2026 based on the information that we have. Plus, Deputy Matsumoto, if he has for that.
Yeah, I think just to advise the board on our numbers year to date for attrition at 8 leave. So out of 580 something officers, that's actually very good. It's in keeping with line with what experienced officers have told us when they onboarded about sort of the length of time some of them wanted to spend SPF before moving on into retirement, for example. But it is hard to predict. We do canvass our staff sort of informally about what some of their plans are, and we try to.
Thank you. Any more questions, comments from directors? Once again, Chief. Moving along to Chief Constable's update, verbal update.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I want to spend some time discussing extortions. This is an issue, an unforeseen issue for the Surrey Police Service. We had a significant increase in the number of extortions since June of this year. This understandably has caused fear, anxiety in the community, and we acknowledge that. We share the concerns that the community has. That is why it's a top priority for Surrey Police Service. And what we have done as a result of these files coming in is number one, we do have an extortion team within the Surrey Police Service. Second, we have joined the task force, which is a multi-agency unit that is dealing with complicated extortions. There are 5 agencies involved. We have 15 people on that task force. Additionally, we provide safety plans for the victims. We have a proactive patrol team under the leadership of Deputy Lesage, specifically patrolling areas that A, have been victimized, or B, if we have any information that there may be some illegal activity that may befall that residence or business. Fourth point I want to make is that we have a victim management team, and we stay in touch with the victims. It's understandable that the fear that it brings to the victims, their families, their friends, affecting their businesses. And so we work with them. Inspector Kosa is here this evening. He leads that small team to do safety planning. I want to mention the Crown, and there's been much discussion about the Crown. We now, almost on a daily basis, we have meetings with the Crown. They are available to us and have been very helpful in providing direction. There's other agencies that have assisted, and I'm speaking about the Edmonton Police Service and Peel Regional. I've been in touch with both chiefs, and they briefed me on their situation, and I briefed them on ours. There's some similarities, but there's a lot of differences. It's very specific to the environment and the city. I'll also mention another important party, and that's the CBSA. We initially did not have them as part of the team, but as we advanced the investigations, it was obvious that we needed their expertise, and they have joined the task force as well. Finally, I'll mention that we have a community outreach team. So that is to say that we have contacted literally hundreds of businesses and advised them about the appropriate protocol, which is preserve the evidence if you get a call, do not pay, and please report to the police. We have 2 streams of taking in information. One is Crime Stoppers. The other one is, as you know, the City of Surrey offered a $250,000 reward. And with the tip line, which is 236-485-5149, I can tell you that we have received calls. I know there's a lot of concern in the community about what exactly is happening with the investigations. And we, of course, have to balance transparency with protecting the integrity of the investigation. But to date, I think you're aware that 7 individuals have been charged. Regarding CBSA, they have removed 3 people from Canada. They have 78 other people that are under investigation. Recently, we have made 3 arrests and are working with the Crown towards the next step charges. I can tell you as well that when we're talking about the proactive patrols that we have, that it's fair to say that we have prevented some occurrences from happening. I want to sum up by saying that we are committed to working with the community. This is not specific to a certain segment of Surrey. This is a Surrey issue, and we have to work with the citizens. We encourage them to come forward to give us information. Every little bit helps. And you just don't know what that piece of information, how it may fit into something that may lead to holding these people accountable. And we encourage people to continue to come forward because we are now getting more reporting. Those are my remarks, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. And before I just turn it over to directors, I just really want to thank you for the work the service is doing on these extortion. You know, as us as directors and as civilian oversight, you know, our commitments to citizens of Surrey and supporting yourselves and being able to have the resources to be able to do the work team do. I just really want to thank you for addressing, you know, very, very meaningful topic we need to address here in Surrey and obviously the fear that comes along for our citizens. So thank you for that. Open it up for any directors. Director, so it's Sarjeet was first.
What is happening with that provincial unit, 150 people, which Mayor asked for?
Oh, the mayor had, just to differentiate a little bit here. So, as I mentioned, we have a task force. There's in excess of 40 people on that task force. The 5 agencies, the mayor made a remark about wanting more people there. My position is this: any police chief in the country would welcome more resources. I can tell you that there's merit in what the mayor has said because we are approaching maximum capacity. And so if these files continue to occur, then I'll be coming to the board and working with other parties, different levels of government, in seeking additional resources and or specialized skill set.
So nothing on right now?
Nothing on it at the present time, correct?
And the second question is, see, media people keep on bugging me every day from different radio stations that why chief and the chair is not coming to the radio station and explaining the situation and being in touch with the public.
Yeah.
So they said they have sent several requests in for the chair and for.
I'm not sure about the chair, but we have been going to the media. There's some that we're waiting for tonight to happen first, the forum that will occur. And then I will be going to the radio stations and explaining what we're doing here, as I did a few minutes ago. So there's more to come in that regard.
Okay. What about chair?
On behalf of, I mean, there's been no requests to the board office. So the only requests that I've fielded came from board directors who forwarded them to me. So, and there's only been a handful of those. So at this point, I can't explain why, but there's been no requests to the board office for the chair.
I was told there were 3.
And we will be attending the CBC extortion forum this evening, held at the Surrey Arts Center.
Yeah.
Before I release that to the public, Surrey CBC extortion forum this evening, 6:30 at Surrey Arts Center, but it is by registration.
I'll be there too.
Thank you. Director Baines, or Director Chima, sorry.
Yeah, thank you, Chief. And I appreciate you taking the time to kind of address some of these questions. I have a lot of questions, but I want to build on what Director Baines asked about. There's a lot of angst in the community. There's a lot of worry. There's a lot of fear. What concerns me is that when I hear the chief of our police tell me that we're reaching our capacity, but I don't feel that the criminals are reaching their capacity. And that concerns the hell out of me. I'm really worried that do we have a real good understanding about how many of these people are there that exist, right? And is there not a distinction being made? Like if you break a law and you get caught and you're not a citizen, why the hell are you allowed back onto the streets? Okay. And I know this is a broader question that involves other jurisdictions of government, but if we're not having conversations with other jurisdictions of government, it's a failure in my view. I want to know in terms of the task force, you said, we have how many people dedicated out of SPS on the SPS task force?
We have a team. I'm going to say there's probably 8 people on the team just for investigations. On the task force, we have 15.
And on the ones that are sitting on the more broader regional task force,
Yeah.
who do they report to?
They report to the RCMP, who is leading that task force, because there's slightly different mandates. When we are talking about files that are transnational, that's not the mandate of a municipal police agency.
Sure.
So it goes to a different level. And of course, the RCMP have more responsibility in that realm, as well as other law enforcement agencies.
But I heard you say that there's kind of distinctions between different municipalities. You've been in touch with folks in Edmonton and Peel Region. I was in Peel Region all week last week, and I spoke to so many people. And from what I heard, is that they're not having the flurry of activity that we're having right now. Right? And I know that, coordinating, collaborating, learning from one another across the country is really, really significantly important. But I don't understand why it's happening at such a level here. Like, we have daily updates on the social media of Surrey Police about another shooting. And that just increases the level of fear. I know it's important for people to know what's going on in their communities and where they live, but that's all we put out. And like my respected director, I get calls all over the place too. They're asking me to come. They look at me as one of their own and they're like, come, you need to come and speak to this. Right? But I have to go through layers, so I can't. So who's going to speak on a regular basis? This is not, we've done it once. Okay, we don't need to do it again. We need to go back and let people know. And they need to hear from the chief, the deputies, the chair of our board, that this is something that is super serious and we take this as the utmost priority and we're working on it every single day. And if we have to give that message every single week, we've got to give that message every single week. And I'm asking that we take this. I know there's a lot of good work being done, and I know there's a lot of things that can't be shared with the public. But they have to know, and they have to hear from your voice that we are working on this, we're making progress, and that reflect, like, honestly, I don't know how many people are online, but people are working, they're struggling to make ends meet, they're in their businesses, scared, feared, still open, trying to make a living. They're not on here though. So we're not communicating to the public through these meetings. And we have to find another way to communicate with the public. Sorry, I have some more, Mr. Chair.
How many? How much?
A few more.
Okay.
Safety planning, you referenced safety planning. What does that include? Why I asked that question is, recently, I happened to drive by on 32 Avenue yesterday, went to a meeting, and I didn't know at the time, but I drove by that house I saw in a picture that was hit, I heard a second time, right? So if we're doing safety planning, we have people on, as a part of a specific internal SPS task force. We have a regional task force. How does a house get hit up twice in 5 days? And they do it. Like, how are they, like, do they have more intelligence than we do? Like, this is like a worried part. Like, sorry, Chief, but I've been thinking about this for so long, and people approach me and ask me these questions. I have no answers. I don't know what to tell them. I feel ashamed. I sit on the Surrey Police Board, and they expect me to have answers. I don't have answers. And I bet some of my colleagues here don't have answers either. So I have maybe that question about safety planning. Like, what does that include?
Yes, a couple of things. So I'll start off with a little bit of a context. So many of these files come from offshore, which is to say that's where the communication starts. Not all of them. Not all of them. So we believe there's a number of groups that are involved in this, and some are offshore, some are not. It's difficult to discern. Number two is we know that there's virtually perhaps thousands of businesses and so forth in Surrey. We do not we haven't received intelligence that any other one is going to be coming up to be the victim. We don't have that. That's why we encourage people to report when you get a threat. And once you get that threat, then we do a safety plan, which is an assessment of the risk and also an assessment of the security for the residents, the business, and the people that are involved. Sometimes we have overt presence outside of that residence or business. Sometimes we have covert presence, which is to say other means of detection. And then we're talking about some of these files cross borders within the LMD district. And then you add to this very unique element of this where it's communicated over a WhatsApp or an email or a phone call, and it's obviously difficult to trace. So I don't want to get into a lot of details on the safety plan, but we do that with people and then we follow up with them and we stay in touch. We have a number of people that just work on that end of things. I do know that there has been request by many victims to provide the 24/7 police presence outside their house or business. That's very difficult to do. Very difficult to do. We have at the present time 72 victims. And so how do we ensure that safety? We work with the community, we work with the victims, we provide safety planning. We have the investigations, we are advancing the investigations, we've had arrests, we've had deportation. We are leaving no stone unturned. And we continue to hopefully mitigate and hold these people accountable through arrest and charge.
If there was one message that you could give to people today who may watch this or maybe watching this, what is that?
The message is that we, number one, we certainly understand and appreciate the feelings in the community. We're frustrated ourselves, but we are working forward on this. There's many agencies that are involved. Everybody's leaning into this together, and that we need the community to come forward, to continue to come forward with information as they have. And it's building in momentum. And that is very favorable for some of our investigations. And we will be holding more people accountable.
Sorry, probably one more.
Last one.
Do you have any conversations with other levels of government, recognizing that the mayor just put out a call? I'm sure council is frustrated about what's going on in the city. No one wants to see this in their own city, but do you support that call? And have you had any conversations with other levels of government to say, have they approached you? Any of the MPs from our city,
Yeah,
or MLAs from our city, have talked to you about what you need to do your job?
Yes, I have had conversations with, of course, the mayor and some councillors. I've had conversations with the province, the minister. I've had conversations with members of parliament.
Is there anything that we can help you with?
Not at the present time, but we are discussing the budget earlier.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Director Schima. Dr. Stutt. And
Thank you, Chair. I'll start off by saying I appreciate the complexity and of this investigation and the efforts you've directed towards it. So we offer our thanks. I'd also like to thank Director Chima for the points that he's raised. They're all very valid. And there's something that I hear through my desk frequently. One of the concerns that I would have most at front of mind right now is the safety plans for people. We hear people relocating their families, relocating their businesses. That's obviously a concern to the city and the feeling of general well-being of the people of Surrey. Director Chima also pointed out something that I feel is important for bringing up here when he pointed to the screen and the number of people that are joining us or not. We have to get the message out. This is a public forum. There should be people in this room. There should be people there. And it's kind of incumbent on us to make efforts to make sure that we as a board are participating. This is actually community consultation. This is the first form of it. This is what we should be striving to do, is to get people involved in a public meeting like this so that we hear directly from them. And I too have been receiving inquiries from sources of the media directly asking for comments from the board, and I think it would be prudent of us to engage in those things. I think I've directed some to Jason. So thank you. Those are my comments, but I appreciate what you brought up, Director Chima, and for all the efforts that are ongoing to resolve this horrible situation that we're in. Thank you.
I just want to thank you as well, Chief, and to all staff that are involved with this. It is an absolute horrid situation. I am wondering what protections are in place for people that come forward with information.
I'll defer to Deputy Prosick here, who has specific knowledge of that.
Depending on the nature of the information, certain information is provided in a manner that is confidential, enjoys the legal protection of privilege, which means the identity of the individuals who come forward are legally protected in terms of release of any information that could identify them as someone who's providing information and or cooperating with the police in a covert capacity. So that's in those situations, we have specially trained officers who handle that information, and they can gather details that are used to forward the investigation.
Thank you.
And beyond that, if in the event that a cooperator, someone who may be directly involved in a criminal element, yet make the choice to become a Crown witness, there's additional protections available to them. There's a whole program, a provincial program that manages that. Beyond that, I wouldn't be in a position to provide any more details.
Yeah, I ask it just in terms of public education for people, if they knew what their protections were, that might encourage people to come forward.
So I would say that when the mayor and the chief made the announcement with respect to the tip line, those points were addressed, and all members of the community were encouraged to call. And if they have any questions and they are curious about how information can be shared, the officers at the receiving end of the call are educated and trained to address those points. And so if anyone feels they have information they want to share, but they are concerned about how it is shared, they can always have those conversations with the officers receiving the call, and all of those details can be explained to them.
And I think it's a matter of people hearing that over and over.
Yes, I agree.
Other languages too.
I agree. And I think our comms team is very well informed in that regard, and specifically Staff Sergeant Lindsay Houghton, who you probably know, spent many years at the Combined Forces Special Enforcement Unit. I have heard him repeatedly mention those communication lines, but it's a good reminder. It's something that the public could hear over and over again.
And I'm talking to all the local MPs and MLAs almost every week regarding this situation. But they keep on telling me that why your board, because you people represent the public of Surrey and the taxpayers, why your board is not writing letters to the federal ministers and to the provincial minister to take some serious action on this thing. So I think we should be writing letters to the federal ministers and the prime minister and to the premier and the minister also regarding this matter, that we represent the people and these are the concerns and they should be addressed. I mean, I was expecting those 150 people to be on the road here by now. Nothing so far. How we are going to ask for it? I mean, is not that enough that mayor has asked for it and the community is begging for it every day? So we have to raise that concern that those people should be coming here and helping us because they have the expertise and the equipment. We don't.
I think I hear a motion in that. I think I hear an ask in that.
Exactly, yeah.
So I think what we can do is we can make a motion at this table. I don't know what the motion will be. You want to structure that motion?
I think there might be two parts that I'm hearing because I
I
think
think it is.
it may be helpful to ask for a communication strategy that the board can review and can delegate a committee to review that. I think because there is communications that are happening, but the board may not be aware of it. And that would probably help satisfy some questions. So there's a motion to request that a communication strategy be provided to the board to review. So you can provide comments and make recommendations. The second thing is with particular to requesting that some sort of correspondence be submitted by the board. That's a board decision, and I think the board needs to direct what it wants. And again, they can direct me or they can ask the committee to develop the communications that they want to send, but to pass a motion so that there's a declaration of the intent or will of what the board wants, so that there's some direction provided. So I think the second motion would be the board directs either the executive director or directs the governance committee or whichever committee to develop and communications, proactive communications to address resourcing or other governance related needs.
So, yeah, do we want to make a motion on this before we?
I want to speak to before the.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, next.
I don't think we need a communication strategy. Maybe we do for the long term. But what we do need, I think, is we need a letter that goes to some of the people that Director Baines mentioned. We can decide that amongst ourselves, even close conversation. And if you want me to draft the letter, I'll draft the letter, right? But we need a letter. I think I support that idea very much. And we need to be able to, if there's resources that the chief and his team needs, we need to get them. I'm not suggesting that we do. We reiterate what the mayor said, but I think the mayor's onto something, and we need to figure out who's going to help us because the city needs help, for example. Our police services need help. So I think we need a letter. I don't like the idea of a communication strategy because, to me, in my ears, that's like pushing it down the road, and we need to get on that ASAP. Thank you.
Sorry, 2 points. I just want to say that for the communication strategy, I believe I don't want to overstep on the chief's communication out there either. So I think we as a board need to work with the chief's communication officers or team, right, on getting that message out there. I don't think as a board we should just go rogue and here we go. And I would look for guidance from the chief on letters of support, right? I know currently he stated it's okay, status quo. I would support that. But yeah, I would be looking to the chief for guidance on that side.
Is that your two?
That was my two.
Okay.
Thank you. And just to clarify something, Director Farmer, when you suggest guidance from the chief, is that with respect to a communication policy or advocating for, through a letter for support?
Advocating for letter for support.
I'm going to suggest that the board does advocate through the chair for the support requested by the mayor of the city. That would be my motion.
Just one thing I want to share is there is I've never been given the authority to speak on behalf of the board publicly to the media. So that's my first kind of discussion with that, and then being prepared with chief to be, even if that is a possibility. My mind would be lean on the chair for that discussion, and I could fill in as needed. I forgot the second bit. There was a very, very brief discussion I had with city about them wanting to advocate with the federal government regarding services. I said, whatever we can do, we'll support. And if that's myself individually assisting with that, that's it. But that was a very, very brief just last week on how do we do that? How do we start to marry the asks of the city and the asks of the board and advocate to the provincial and federal government? It was specifically to the federal government, but that is something that is in the works as well. Just so we know that. Motion. So I think we had a motion on the table, and I believe it was. So I think the first question I need to ask is, do we want to lean on Jason to develop that letter, or do we want it to go to the governance committee?
Sorry, which letter?
Letter,
You should, first of all, there is the motion. I think you get a seconder.
okay. So motion,
then you can
repeat your
discuss.
motion again.
My motion was for the board through the chair to send a letter to the government advocating for the request made by the mayor.
Second. All in favor? Opposed? Thank you. So I guess do we need to discuss who's developing this letter?
Yeah.
Probably a good idea.
Yes, I think, yeah, you could have done that before.
I could have done
But I think it would be an opportunity to sort of clarify how you want to do that.
Do we wish to run that through Jason, or do we want to put that back to the governance committee?
Can I propose that we, now that we made this decision, there's other things on this meeting agenda that we maybe move this or push this to both meetings. So I'd like a discussion about like a committee of the whole, not designate this to
Okay. Go to that. So we will continue on the discussion. Director Baines?
And if you, Chair, if you have to go to the media and I am willing to help in those meetings and in those discussions on the radio.
Mhm.
So if you think you will need any assistance, I'll be happy to come along with you. Or Bilal might be too.
My concern is more getting some messaging from chief to ourselves, to the media. That would be more my concern is the messaging and or how much, not enough from there.
And same thing for you, Chief.
Okay, Dr. Chima?
I think it would be a good idea that rather than wait for requests, that we come up with a proactive strategy on how to go out. And I think it would be wonderful to see chair of the board and the chief of the police going out together. We don't have to be separate, and then we could prepare.
And we're doing that this evening.
Yeah.
Thank you. Director Scott?
Excuse me, to clarify this evening, I understand, Chief, you're part of the panel. Correct. And Chair, you're not. So we're not making a statement tonight to anyone. It's just a panel thing, pardon me, panel discussion. Yes, thank you.
Thank you. There's no more questions. Thank you very much for this. Obviously, this is a priority for us as the board and hearing and understanding that's a priority for SPS. Still lots of work to do and still lots of investigation that needs to happen to ensure the safety and well-being of our citizens here in Surrey. Thank you very much. There's no more.
Sorry, we only voted on the supporting the mayor, not the moving the communications to closed?
Yep.
Okay. Sorry, just wanted to.
Okay, no. That was it. No more comments, no more questions on this. Thank you very much for that update. It's extremely helpful to hear where we're at and how things are going and the complexity of the investigation, the multi-layer. Thank you very much. In our agenda, we're moving into interim executive director reports. Number one being consultation on board policy respecting service and complaint.
Most of the items under for information, and I think the governance, because they were directions from the governance committee and work in response to the directions from the governance committee. I understand that Director Stunt is going to say some remarks on behalf of the governance committee. It's probably that's mostly your same things I'm doing the material here for you.
Are you kicking that over to Director?
Well, I think it'll later in the agenda.
Oh, okay.
So I don't think you need to go with that now. I think
Okay.
in due course, he has the
Okay, and that's both.
both items.
Thank you. Moving into committee reports. First one is Finance and Risk Committee, year-to-date expenditure. I'll direct that to Director Palmer.
Thank you. I know it's in the consent agenda, so I don't know if anybody has any questions or anything on it. We did meet on October 23rd to go over year-to-date actuals. We're trending in the right direction. No significant variances to report on.
Any questions or comments? It's only for information. Again, the proposed 2026 budget has been removed from this agenda and will be come forward at another time. Moving into Governance Committee, Chair's updates, verbal, Director Stuck.
Thank you, Chair. I am presenting this report on behalf of the Governance Committee Chair, who is unable to join us today. The Governance Committee met on October 23rd to offer comments, make recommendations, and further provide direction for two initiatives that have been delegated by the board. For the board's priorities, goals, and objectives, the committee offered comments and recommendations on a document that summarizes the results of community consultations that were conducted in 2024 and 2021. The document is called What We Heard, Policing Priorities for Surrey, and is a snapshot in time of what Surrey residents identified as the top threats to public safety. At the time the surveys are conducted, the top concerns expressed by our community were violent crime, organized crime and gangs, intimate partner violence, non-violent property crime, and road safety. Since the survey, extortion threats and shots fired has emerged as a crime problem that the Surrey Public and its police board have made a top priority. The Governance Committee has asked the interim executive director to develop an engagement plan to consult the public and confirm that what we heard still reflects the specific priorities that they want the police service to focus on. The identification of specific areas of priorities is not meant to take anything away from the delivery of core policing services, but it is intended to align resources in initiatives to areas of strategic priority that will have the greatest impact for public safety and people's feelings of security. There is a report from the interim executive director in the agenda package that outlines the engagement plan. At the conclusion of this engagement, the Governance Committee will have clear strategic priorities and performance targets to measure the outcomes and impacts of SPS initiatives to reduce crime to recommend to the board. The second initiative the Governance Committee reviewed is development of a new service or policy complaint review. Service or policy complaints do not look into conduct concerns, which are the purview of the Police Complaint Commissioner. Rather, service or policy complaints are broader concerns about the police service, such as the adequacy or appropriateness of response to calls for service, training, or general procedures and protocols. While no one wants complaints, the fact that a service or policy complaints policy and procedures is an opportunity for the board to hear directly from members of the community we represent, listen to the concerns they have about police service, and ensure interactions between the community and SPS is fair and equitable. The board currently has a service or policy complaint policy that can be found in the governance manual, which is available online. While current policy complies with provincial standards and guidelines, amendments to the Police Act that came into force last year require police boards to consult the public on the adequacy of their policies and procedures by April 24th, 2026. The Governance Committee has taken the consultation requirement as an opportunity to consider whether our policy is as user-friendly as it can be and ensure that procedures for bringing forward and addressing concerns include measures to assist complainants who may feel barriers to accessing the process. The committee directed the interim executive director to prepare a draft policy and procedure for public consultation. And again, you will find this report in the agenda package. Engagement plan calls for the draft version along with communications that explain its purpose and the purpose of public consultation to be posted to the board's website and sent directly to the community in early 2026. Feedback received on the policy will be reviewed by the governance committee at its meeting at the end of February or early March, and a report will be brought back to the board for the following board meeting. While this concludes my report on the governance committee meeting, I would like to take this opportunity to highlight some business that requires attention at future meetings. In July of this year, a provincial municipal police board member code of conduct came into force, taking precedence over the code of conduct in the board's governance manual. The manual will need to be updated to ensure alignment and clarity. Similarly, the provincial municipal police board meeting regulation that is now in force requires a review of the meeting bylaw and procedures in the manual. There will undoubtedly be further business coming our way, but for now, this concludes my report, and I thank you and welcome questions.
Questions, comments from directors? Thank you very much, Director Stuckey. Moving along, thank you very much for your report. Moving along to Human Resources and Compensation Committee. Chair's update, Director Carwan.
Thank you. Our last meeting of the HRCC focused mainly on hiring matters. The hiring and diversity update that you see in the materials were presented today by the chief was one of the things that was presented and discussed. I think as you can see from reviewing that, our recruiting and human resources staff have done an excellent job in their hiring and continuing the work of hiring sworn officers. They've particularly done a great job in making sure we, one, have people with a variety of skills and backgrounds. You can see that from the report. And number two, in reflecting the community we serve. And I was particularly impressed with the fact that we have 36 languages spoken among our people. The second item was the fact that we've hired up now, as we heard earlier, to take over the rest of District 5. And again, due to the great work of our recruiting and human resources staff. And the third item we also discussed in terms of hiring was the move that we had previously mentioned about hiring community safety officers who will be looking to start hiring in the new year to supplement the work of the sworn officers. And we previously touched about that at the movement. So that summarizes the matters we discussed at the HRCC meeting.
Thank you. Any comments or questions to Director?
Yes, thank you, Chair. Thank you for your report. I would like to address the community safety officers. Where are we with that procedure? We had a defined process.
There's a number in the budget for that, but I'll let the chief speak a bit more about that.
Yes, we put 24 in for the 2026 budget. And we are at the present time putting some plans together on how that will work, how to hire them. We're fortunate because we do have a member that came from the BPD, an experienced officer who oversaw the community safety officers in the Vancouver Police Department. So we're working through to get a plan together early in the new year. Deputy Matsumoto, anything to add?
Yeah, just a few more details on that. So we expect community safety officers to not undertake police work per se, but to augment and support police officers in the community. Things like traffic control for things like patrol support, picking up evidence, for example, interacting with the community, attending community events. So they're there to supplement police operations. And that also then frees up our police officers to focus more on police work.
Thank you.
Okay. More comments, questions for Director Caruana? If none, thank you very much for your report. Thank you very much for the comments and questions. Moving along in our agenda, we have no service or policy complaints. There's no information, there's no correspondence, and there's no new business. Public Q&A, I don't know if there's any public online. There's no public online. So we are moving along to our next meeting for the Surrey Police Board will be held on September 11th, 2025, back here in this boardroom. And with that, I will make a motion to move our meeting into closed. All in favor? Opposed? Thank you very much. With that, we will conclude our open section of this meeting. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.